Welcome to Let's Talk New Media here on Television Nigerian. My name is Tare Joseph Gabis. As internet usage is on the uprise, there is a need for us to be aware of the dangers surrounding daily usage. We can be harassed, body shamed, scammed, and stalked, amongst a number of other things. So it is paramount that users be more aware of what you can do to avoid all the hassles. So the topic of the day is safety precaution on the internet. First off, think about how many devices you use simultaneously and how when your device gets you won't be either losing your information or other people taking advantage of this information. Now you need to learn to log out your emails on your desktop at all times and stay logged on only on your mobile devices, as this will help reduce the risk of your information getting into the wrong hands. Apart from your emails, your bank apps and social media apps are not excluded. As for your mobile devices, I suggest that they remain private and used by you alone. So that's why it is paramount you password your phone and be vigilant at all times. You need to be aware that not all links and pop-ups are to be explored. I know that situation when you are busy online and then you receive a notification from nowhere and the information is probably about a money-making scheme that's too good to be true. You become so eager to know more and so you drop your guard down. You forget about your safety and then the story becomes I've been scammed. This analogy is probably more reason why you should take precaution on whatever link or pop-up you encounter while on the internet. Let's talk about privacy. You need to know that everything you post on social media is public. You might say you restricted your viewers to your friends and family, but just so you know, if it's on the internet, it's definitely public. So you need to watch what you post online and make sure you log out from public devices or devices that are in general use to safeguard your privacy. Make sure your personal device is personal and not open to use for all. Never leave your phone with any stranger for any reason, be it emergencies or not. Let's talk about passwords now. It is not wise to use a universal password for all your platforms. If you must, add a little change that you will always remember so as to get easy access and also be safe. And for those of us that like to pad our ears with earphones, please do not charge your phone and plug your ears at the same time. This is very dangerous because there's an amount of electricity surging through your phone at the moment. And although you might have gotten away with it in the past, you might not always get another chance. Finally, let's talk about screens. If you think about it, every day we face different screens, and it varies from a mobile phone screen to a laptop screen or to a TV screen or even a windscreen. So I recommend that we rest our eyes. Sometimes read a book in the old-fashioned way. Go out and see the world with your own eyes and avoid damaging your natural lenses in the future. So that's all I have today for you. This is Let's Talk New Media, and I remain Tare Joseph Gabis.
welcome to another interesting episode on healthy living. Today we'll be looking at high blood pressure. What is high blood pressure? High blood pressure is also known as hypertension. Blood pressure is the amount of force exerted against the walls of the arteries as blood flows through them. If left untreated or uncontrolled, high blood pressure can cause many health problems. These conditions include heart failure, vision loss, stroke, and kidney failure. Causes of blood pressure. Number 1, we have age. Number 2, family history. Number 3, obesity and overweight. Number 4, smoking. Number 5, we have lack of exercises. Number 6, excess alcohol intake. Number 7, high salt. Number 8, mental stress. Number 9, and lots more. Symptoms of high blood pressure will not experience any symptom. It is often known as a silent killer for this reason. However, once blood pressure reaches about 100/110, it is considered as a medical emergency known as hypertension. At this stage, symptoms will show, which includes headache, vomiting, dizziness, blood or double vision, nose bleeding, irregular forceful breathing of the heart, breathlessness. Anyone who experiences these symptoms should see their doctor immediately. Let's look at the treatment. Treatment for high blood pressure depends on several factors, such as severity, the risk of developing stroke or diseases, and so on. But there are other advisable ways to help lower blood pressure, such as regular exercises, losing weight, sleeping properly, medications, lowering salt intake. In very small amounts, alcohol may lower blood pressure, but if you drink too much, blood pressure levels may increase. Avoid too much of spicy foods too. Dick Gregory said, people with blood pressure and diabetes are conditions brought to themselves by their lifestyles. If they change their lifestyle, those conditions will leave. Ponder on this. Good health is not something we can buy. However, it can be extremely valuable saving for your account. Thank you for watching Healthy Living and keep watching Television Nigerian. I remain Diana Odra.
Not to keep quiet on this matter.
Mr. Trump, please blow your trumpet.
I have so many friends going to your countries trying to get rich.
Hello viewers, welcome to the Oracle live on Television Nigeria. The Oracle is a 1-hour free consultation clinic on governance, the democratic process, peace and security matters, and global strategic issues. The Oracle is hosted by Odeta Odinta, my humble self. I'll be a guide for the 1-hour show airing every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. The concept of the Oracle is simple. The past is rich with wisdom. The present is knowledge. The future possibility of mankind is how do we prophesy the things to come and the things to happen. That is what we tend to do and achieve in this engaging and profoundly illuminating show, The Oracle, on television Nigeria.
Information remains the bedrock in every stage of development. It develops both the human mind and the society at large. Television Nigerian is here to avail you with that information you need for all-round development through its mind-blowing programs such as news, talk shows, health and safety, governance and politics, sports, entertainment, kids, documentaries, finance, global happenings, human disposition from childhood to adulthood. It's a manifestation of what you see, what you hear, and say. Tune in and stay tuned to TVN, Television Nigeria, broadcast beyond boundaries.
Not to keep quiet on this matter.
They are killing our people back home.
Mr. Trump, please blow your trumpet.
I have so many friends going to your countries trying to get rich.
Hello viewers, welcome to The Oracle live on television Nigeria. The Oracle is a 1-hour free consultation clinic on governance, the democratic process, peace and security matters, and global strategic issues. The Oracle is hosted by Denta Odenta, my humble self. I'll be a guide for the 1-hour show airing every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. The concept of the Oracle is simple. The past is rich with wisdom. The present is knowledge. The future possibility of mankind is how do we prophesy the things to come and the things to happen. That is what we tend to do and achieve in this engaging and profoundly illuminating show, The Oracle, on television Nigeria.
Information remains the bedrock in every stage of development. It develops both the human mind and the society at large. Television Nigerian is here to avail you with that information you need for all-round development through its mind-blowing programs such as news, talk shows, health and safety, governance and politics, sports, entertainment, kids, documentaries, finance, global happenings, human disposition from childhood to adulthood. It's a manifestation of what you see, what you hear, and say. Tune in and stay tuned to TVN, Television Nigeria, broadcast beyond boundaries.
Good morning and welcome to Television Nigeria. It's Thursday and it means it's Tax Thursday right here in Nigeria as we support the federal government's push to ensure that every Nigerian pay their tax so that all basic amenities provided. My name is Anthony Momodu, welcoming to Daybreak Nigeria. And I'm not alone, I've got the beautiful
Hello, good morning. My name is Cynthia Agbo, and the post today promises your car, office, comfort of your house. Just know that you are logged onto the right place.
Definitely, today is going to be super interesting because we have a lot of issues for discuss that would catch your fancy. One of them, we're looking at the NNPC and the PIG, the bill which has been passed and waiting for assent from President. Also, we'll look at other very interesting news on our foreign scene. But before we start all those goodies just for you, let's begin with our concerns of the day.
Well, I must say that I have a lot of concerns to me, and I know that someone watching right now is also a concerned person. First of all, I would they talk about the issue of bail. Now, the Nigerian police have come out to tell us that bail is free, right? We all have heard that bail is free, but the thing is, they still collect money when you go there. I was listening to a report, and someone said he said when he went to the police station to get his person out, and they told him that, and he told them, he said, I thought you guys said bail is free, and the policeman told him, yes, bail is free, but won't you pay for accommodation? That is to say, we accommodated your person, so you have to pay for accommodation. So I think the authorities come and tell us that bail is free. Meanwhile, what the Nigerian man sees when he goes there to the police station is different. I think that the IG and the rest, every other person should do to ensure, maybe they should get a particular form signed and said, okay, this is the bail form, you don't have to pay for this. If you get anything that is less than this and you get money, they should put up measures to know that people are still being charged for bail.
Right, something the Inspector General of Police has to look into. But for my contribution, I think probably putting CCTVs in every police station would help to checkmate whatever these officers get involved in. Then we can actually hold them to ransom. And hopefully we're counting on the Assistant Inspector General of Police to also put a hand in trying to make sure things are done right. And those talking about those in charge, the police officers themselves should do the needful to ensure that the officers do right. Where my concern stands for Brazil's former president, talking about Lula da Silva, begins jail term. The Supreme Court judges ruled against him by 6-5 after a marathon session which ended early this morning right there in Brazil. It means we have to learn something from the Brazilians. They're not scared to, prosecute their former president. And as I prosecuted him, found him culpable, and now he's going to serve time in prison. That's the way to go. That's the way to kill corruption. That's the way to ensure that everyone falls into line. I think the APC-led government has to learn from this.
Well, I must say that if this is it's a good one, I must say it's a very, very good one. Of course, Nigeria has to learn from this. But if we are saying that Nigeria should learn from it, it's going to really take a long time, because the truth is, how many people want to really go to prison? Even people who their cases are even in court, how many times nobody gets to hear about them before you know it's done and dusted. And so it will really take us a long time for us to practice some certain things in Nigeria.
All right, let's go to the next segment where we'll give you the big stories making the rounds right here in the world. Talking about global news, talking about foreign news, and nowhere else to start but Brazil. Former Brazilian president, talking about Lula da Silva, will be in prison while he appeals his corruption conviction. The country's Supreme Court has ruled he is facing 12 years in jail on charges of accepting a bribe, but had asked to remain free. During his appeal, Lula claims the charges are politically motivated and designed to prevent him from running in October's presidential election. Very funny. He still wants to come.
Well, I think that you never could tell. If it's in a country like Nigeria, I would have said, okay, fine, he might be able to come out and still contest. But given that it is not Nigeria, well, so that is like a hope partially lost. All right, so let's move on. 18 hostages seized in southwestern Cameroon have been freed in a military operation. A government statement said 12 Europeans and 6 Cameroonians were seized by secessionist terrorists. It occurred in a restive English-speaking region where protesters say they are marginalized by the country's francophone majority. Now, the government said the 7 Swiss and 5 Italians were on their way to a tourist site when they were abducted. That's not good news. It's a very bad commentary. It's going to definitely affect the tourism aspect of Cameroon. Let's go to the next big story. The UK's Victoria and Albert Museum has offered to return on loan treasures to Ethiopia seized by British troops 150 years ago, including an ornate crown, a royal wedding dress, and a gold chalice.
The overture came as some of the objects go on display until June 2019 at the museum in London to mark the anniversary of the Madala battle in 1868. That's history for you.
I love history. All right, a jury in the United States has found Bolivian ex-president Gonzalo Sanchez de Lozada responsible for the death of dozens of protesters in 2003. He's the defense minister, Carlos Sanchez, was also found responsible in the civil lawsuit. Now, their lawyers say they would appeal against the decision. The plaintiffs accused the two men of ordering the Bolivian military to use force to break up the 2003 protesters. The victims' families were awarded $10 million, that is $7 million in damages.
Wow, that's bad money to have.
Sometimes you just wish, oh, how much I was affected.
All right. Okay, I think I'm staying right here in television Nigerian. Let's go to the next big story. Russia's proposal for a new joint investigation into the poisoning of an ex-spy and his daughter in London, in England, has been voted down at the International Court at The Hague. Russia has accused Britain of blocking access to an investigation being carried out by the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. Britain said Russia's call for an inquiry with the UK was pervasive. Russia lost votes by 15 votes to 6, while 17 member states abstained. All right, time for us to go into the sporting arena for the big stories. Last night was awesome with the UEFA Champions League. But before we go to the UEFA Champions League, we have something coming from Ethiopia. You want to take that?
Yes, the Ethiopian Football Federation, that is EFF, has been told by FIFA to make key changes to its electoral process before presidential elections can take place. In a letter to the EFF dated 2nd April, FIFA Secretary General Fatman Samara said the elections, which have already been postponed several times, cannot take place until the electoral process is brought into line with FIFA statutes. It follows a FIFA assessment mission in Addis Ababa on 12 March 2018.
Okay, the problems in Ethiopia reminds me of that that occurred several times right here in Nigeria. Let's go to the Champions League. Liverpool took a firm grip on their Champions League quarterfinal as Manchester City were torn apart by a 3-goal bust from Jurgen Klopp's side in the first 31 minutes. At Anfield, City's only Premier League defeat as they move to the brink of winning the title has been a 4-3 loss at Anfield in January, and they were made to suffer once again. One more this time around tells you once beaten, twice shy. The face of Liverpool's pressing aggression and potent attack, Mohamed Salah pounced in the area to score his 38th goal of the season after 12 minutes, and Alex Chamberlain doubled their lead 8 minutes later when he unleashed a fierce shot past Edison from 20 yards. And the third goal that gives Liverpool such a commanding advantage to take to the Etihad Stadium next Tuesday came just after half an hour when Sadio Mane rose to head home Salah's cross. That was awesome. Last night was superb at Anfield. It tells you you never walk alone, and definitely the Reds didn't walk alone yesterday.
Well, I might not be a very amazing sports person, but one thing I do know is that I enjoyed the match of yesterday. When as may sound, I was somewhere where the match was going on, and the crowd, they were all cheering, and I didn't know what was happening until I looked at the screen. I was like, oh, Liverpool and Man City, and the other side was Sevilla and Bayern Munich. Yes, and so I was more interested with that because Sevilla seems to be boring, and I was more interested in the Liverpool, and I discovered that for my analysis from that match, I think I saw much of pressure on the Man City side. Liverpool was pressing them. They just didn't want to give them any break, and I think that it was a good one. Fair enough. Three. And when I left, it was 3-0, and so I think
that's good.
They never expected it.
All right, so congratulations to all the Reds all over the world talking about those that will never walk alone. All right, let's go to the next Champions League cracker that took place last night. We have Luis Suarez scored his first Champions League goal in more than a year as Barcelona beat Roma convincingly in the quarterfinals first leg. Barca benefited from 2 own goals to control the tie. First, that Rossi slid into his own net in bid to keep the ball away from Messi. The fear of Messi is lots of trouble. And then you had Costa Manolas bundled another in with Gerard Piqué tapping in Barcelona's stead. Eddie Dzeko gave Roma hope, but Suarez then slammed home from 14 yards. And Barca are now strong favorite to clinch the first semi-final spot since 2014-2015 season when they won the tournament. Next Wednesday at Stadio Olimpico. That's where the match is going to be. But congratulations to all Barca fans. It's awesome yesterday. They beat Sevilla, and I think I'm really happy being a Red Devil fan. Sevilla did us in, and I think they're getting the side of the coin.
I must say that at first when I saw the match, I was thinking, I saw the red, and I was like, is that Man U? But what's Man U doing here? I thought we've been yanked off. So I was like, okay. And I got to know it was not Man U. But anyway, I'm still super excited. I go with the winning team. If I'm not with Man U, then any team that wins, well, I go with them.
All right, so congratulations to all the winning teams on the first leg. Second leg is going to be a cracker win. The second leg goes on Barcelona taking on Sevilla in Spain. That's going to be super, super exciting. And also Liverpool taking on Man City. Liverpool has shown that they're truly very good. They have the motion in beating Man City this season. Only lost so far this season was a 4-3 loss to Liverpool, so it's a great one. So, it's now time for us to.
But what could possibly be going wrong? Because I know Man City used to be top on the table.
They're the best team in the Premier League, no doubt. But when it comes to the Champions League, that's what it's called Champions League. Every team is a champion once you get into that stage. And once you're in the quarter, semi-finals, anything is possible. Any team, an underdog can beat the traditional team. So that's how it goes in the world of football, especially Champions League. Let's get to know Nigeria.
How well do you know Nigeria? If you're faced with certain questions, what can you say? Firstly, the major system of transportation in the country is the road transportation system.
Yeah, not too good. We expect we should be going by the trains, similar trains.
Well, we've got that in there.
All right, getting to Nigeria, Pidgin English is the popular lingua franca in the country. Which one you did now?
Did you see how that sounds?
How far?
I don't know what are you saying.
The feel now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Pidgin English for you right here from Nigeria, like it says. True.
Okay.
No response? Get it shy.
I did fine.
Get shy. Okay, let's go to the next stage.
The life expectancy in Nigeria is about 52.622 years.
All right, now you know we live long right here in Africa. All right, Nigeria was the first African country to eradicate the Ebola threat in 2015. Big ups to Nigeria, to the entire healthcare givers that made sure Ebola didn't succeed in 2015. Big ups to them. And I think there's a movie that goes to celebrate that feat by Nigeria.
Yes.
Talking about
I think I've seen the movie. The Ebola movie. Yeah, 60% of the Nigerian populace are literate. It's a good one.
Great one. All right, getting to know Nigeria, Transparency International ranks Nigeria has 136 least corrupt out of 176 countries on its list. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
It's a good one.
Let's get to know Africa this time around.
Yes. All right, so today, some people who reside in Southern Africa use the same tools as those found in a cave which dates 44,000 years back.
Oh boy. All right, the next one says about 41% of children in Africa aged between 5 to 1 years are actively involved in child labor. That's a very sad comment.
Not very good. Not very good. In Africa, just like in Asia, people have to walk an average of 3.7 miles daily to fetch water for various uses.
All right, now you know 39% of children under the age of 5 years in Burundi are underweight. sad commentary
They
again.
need to eat more of fufu and gari.
The delicacies from Nigeria. Alright.
All right, so over 90% of all malaria cases reported worldwide come from Africa. Every year, 3,000 children die from the disease.
Oh boy, not too good story here now. We hope in the coming years and with what Bill Gates has said, invest more in the health sector. All right, let's go to the segment where we have to flip and flop. All right, let's kickstart the flip-flop.
Start. You start.
All right, which country is famous for her samba dance, carnival, and her football artistry? You cannot miss this. Just one country. They've got yellow, golden, blue as their colors.
Brazil.
Brazil has to be Brazil. Nobody else but Brazil.
It's my turn. It's my turn. Which South American nation is feared for her unique high altitude?
Okay, I know there's a country that starts with Bolivia.
I know you can
Bolivia.
spell.
Bolivia is a country. All right, which natural resources is common amongst these nations? South Africa, Zambia, and Botswana.
Do you have to be that mean?
To be that nice. Just try to know Africa.
Gold,
All right.
copper, right?
Yeah.
Why you look like that?
Yeah, because I'm amazed you're getting it.
Now you're
spot on.
looking like Ed and Eddie.
Should we just say that?
What's the last one? Diamond?
That's it. All right, so we'll diamond, gold, copper.
Who doesn't like this three?
Around, so you have to get it. Around South Africa, Zambia, and Botswana. And also Botswana is known for their animals, zebras specifically. They've got lots of zebras in Botswana.
Okay.
All right, that's why it's called the White and Black Nation.
Okay, it's my turn. Which part of Nigeria are known for their unique butter dance? Dun, 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 dun,
That's from
dun,
the Yoruba
dun,
speaking
dun,
axis of Nigeria.
dun, dun, dun,
So
dun,
can you help us out?
How am I supposed to help you with that?
Okay, I
That's a
said the
question.
Yoruba axis, the western part. Yeah,
Oh, that's it. Let me
so.
see. Dun, dun, dun,
Cruise
dun, 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 dun.
Right, so
All right, so that is how we're going to wrap it up right here. This is the first part of the Daybreak Nigeria show right here on Television Nigerian. We will go on a short break, and when we come back, we will be going to our discuss for the day.
Not to keep quiet on this matter. People have come.
Mr. Trump, please blow your trumpet.
I have so many friends going to your countries trying to get rich.
Hello viewers, welcome to the Oracle live on Television Nigeria. The Oracle is a 1-hour free consultation clinic on governance, the democratic process, peace and security matters, and global strategic issues. The Oracle is hosted by Udeba Odinta, my humble self. I'll be a guide for the 1-hour show airing every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. The concept of the Oracle is simple. The past is rich with wisdom. The present is knowledge. The future possibility of mankind is how do we prophesy the things to come and the things to happen. That is what we tend to do and achieve in this engaging and profoundly illuminating show, The Oracle, on Television Nigeria.
Information remains the bedrock in every stage of development. It develops both the human mind and the society at large. Television Nigerian is here to avail you with that information you need for all-round development through its mind-blowing programs such as news, talk shows, health and safety, governance and politics, sports, entertainment, hobbies, documentaries, finance, global happenings, human disposition from childhood to adulthood. It's a manifestation of what you see, what you hear, and say. Tune in and stay tuned to TVN, Television Nigeria, broadcast beyond boundaries.
Alright, welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching Television Nigerian and you're watching the Daybreak Nigeria show, one of Africa's finest breakfast show right here. My name is Zapti Modu and still with my co-host, Cynthia. Alright, recently we had the National Assembly, pass the PIGB, talking about the Petroleum Industrial Governance Bill, and waiting for assent by Mr. President. Just last week, we had a breaking news by the NMPC saying that there's likely not to be any hike in pump price of petrol, and that has caused some, and right now we've decided to have a talk or discuss around it, and we have our in-house analyst in the person right here to help us resolve this little drama going on. Good morning, nice to have you in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
All right, recently we had the NMPC come out to debunk the fact that there's going to be likely increase in petroleum price. We've had such comments in the past, and only for us to wake up days later to see an increase. Are you convinced with the comments of NMPC?
Certainly I'm not. Okay. Now, before business grows to an extent where it stabilizes, you start up there now. Play back to 1999-2000 when GSM came to Nigeria. The price of the SIM card was as high as almost 45,000, came down to 25,000. That is free if you check it out. That's how this is going to happen now. From the onset of this, as soon as that bill is passed, the price of petroleum will actually increase a little bit, and over time, by the time the working environment become normal, it will reduce, just like telecommunications. So it is not going to be like NNPC saying there's going to be a slight. Understand the fact that one of the issues in the bill is the fact that the power to revoke and give license is going to be stripped from Mr. President and the minister to the board that will be created. Now, that's one of the reasons that we're going to have a delay in assenting to our bill. We might end up having dissent between all of that. So, in the long run, the prices are going to come down. But in the meantime, let Nigerians don't have this kind of very kind of fantasy that we're just going to go to continue being the way it is. It may not be like that, because in the world of business, so many intricate things will happen before it stabilizes.
All right. Looking at how controversial it has been, the NMPC being touted as one of the most corrupt agencies, and also the issue of the reality, do you think the NMPC is going to allow this cleanup to actually take place if the president assents to this bill? Do you see it, getting that cleanup it deserves?
Yeah, but in as much as we've had 17 years coming for this bill, 13 years have been in there, 17 years from when Obasanjo initiated it, pre-1999. It gives you an idea that so many things happen in that place. The NNPC has been touted as one of the most corrupt, and that's as clear as it is. Let's be very honest with ourselves. But that is because Nigeria operates in mono economy. The economy of Nigeria revolves around the oil industry.
Okay.
And NNPC is the face of that industry. And talking about corruption or NNPC allowing it to go or take it easily like that, it starts from the presidency. Because Mr. President, with the stroke of a pen, signs one oil license for you, oil block, and you become a billionaire. And he also has, a share in it if you want to accept it or not. So NPC may not want this cleanup to come immediately. So that there are going to be hurdles that will be, surmounted. That's why you've seen the bill take this very long time. But according to the provisions of this bill, there's a cleanup underway. Okay. Because the health sector will be, kind of refined, because everything about the health standards of those who are working there will be taken care of.
All right.
Expatriates who can be sourced locally, over time, what has been happening is the fact that, when all these expatriates come, they come with other foreign companies, they come with their expatriate. Even some skilled labor that can be sourced to Nigeria, they are always gotten abroad. But right now, with the bill and its provision, that will be gotten locally. And even manufacturers in Nigeria, some of the resources and materials that you need for the construction and all of those can be sourced locally in Nigeria. So it will grow the economy. So there's actually a cleanup coming. There's actually more jobs to be created. There's the fact that more investors will come. Mr. President has gone around the world trying to woo investors to come. But because there is no clear in the oil sector works in Nigeria, nobody is willing to stake billions of dollars. So if we get this bill to be passed and assented to by Mr. President, a whole lot will happen. It will jumpstart the whole of
Take you back, you talked about the price would definitely increase, but it was stabilized. Now, let me take you back to the subsidy. Is there any similarity between the subsidy and this bill?
Definitely there is, because over time, when Nigeria was subsidizing the price of all those petroleum products, people saw that said there was a lot of corruption in the industry. Which of course the thing is, when there was subsidy, Nigerians didn't feel the economic biting, the economic impact the way I feel now. You would have implemented the subsidy thing stage by stage, and then the impact would have been kind of mitigated. But this government implemented it in one fell swoop. Remove the subsidy actually is not a bad idea, because it will reduce corruption in the industry. But the manner of implementation is not administration. Okay, it started when they did it partially. Price was increased just from 87 naira to about 87 naira. But when APC came in, they did it one fell swoop. And what did we get from 97 or 87 naira up on to 145 naira? And of course, you know that there is no kind of monitoring or a price mechanism set in Nigeria where you say the price of Maggi must be sold nationwide for 10 naira. A sachet water must be for 5 naira. There is no regulatory framework like that. So anything that will affect the price of petrol indirectly and directly affects every other commodity. So by just implementing that decision, that's where we've seen ourselves. So if you talk about this industry bill coming to pass fully, there is some kind of similarity, because we will have a situation where there's either going to be a little increase in the price of fuel, and as everything stabilizes and normalizes, we can begin to feel the effect of it coming down, just like it happened in the telecommunications sector.
All right, you talking about subsidy. Recently, we had the Reps House Committee probe into subsidies that were paid without approval from the National Assembly. That on its own, it's illegal.
Yeah.
You agree? If that's the case, what do you think someone heads should roll for that particular incident?
Now, the thing is, it's been happening over time.
Yeah, but this time around, this administration said there were subsidy no-go area, but they were paying subsidy behind the backs of Nigerians and society. That's criminal. That's wrong.
Yes.
So,
now,
should we let it fly?
No, we shouldn't let it fly. Just recently, further among a list of people assumed or alleged to be corrupt. Now, if you are saying, looters, yes. If you are saying that subsidy was being paid, what the present government said, do not pay out those people. Now, the people who will pay the subsidy, where are they from? The government of the Federation, right? Courtesy of NNPC. But NNPC blatantly denied it, meaning that somehow there is a cover-up. It should be investigated, and those who are being found culpable should be made to face the full weight of the law. Because that is when it will give credence to the corruption stand of Mr. President.
Is it going to happen when Mr. President is the minister of...
Your answer, your guess is as good as mine. It's the same thing I say, Mr. President, appear before the National Assembly in the capacity of Minister of Petroleum Resources.
Yeah.
So do you see the Senate President of the All Progressives Congress investigating the President of the Federal Republic in the capacity of the minister.
Is it wrong?
It is not wrong. But in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, do you see that happening? It's almost a no-go area. Just in Brazil yesterday, we heard that the former president has been asked to serve a jail term. That tells you that these people, government, with all due respect, 3 years down the line, has anybody been convicted of corruption, no matter how lowly placed the person is, let alone an ex-president and federal government corruption stand, move to the fact that Jonathan can be jailed if unculpable, Obasanjo can be jailed if unculpable, and stuff like that. But it hasn't happened. So it's almost
that's impossible. So what's the best way to tie the anti-corruption war in Nigeria? What's the best way to tie it?
Selective anti-corruption war. Along the lines of party. Okay. That's what we have seen. Because if you want to fight corruption, corruption does not only reside in the opposition party for the sake of it. Let's look at the alleged looters list as a litmus test for this administration. You tell me, Nigeria is corrupt, Nigeria is corrupt, Nigeria is corrupt. Okay, come on with the list. And the list is found only the names of people from the opposition party. Meaning that your party has immunity from corruption, isn't it? That's what it means. But on the flip side, 60% even more of the people who constitute the Federal Executive Council, the ministers and governors under the platform of the All Progressives Congress, are from the former People's Democratic Party. And so what Nigerians are saying is that if you cross over from the People's Democratic Party to the APC, the ruling party, you are now become born again and all things have become new. Is that what you're telling us? In reality, that's what you're telling, but is that what it is? The answer is no. So right now, if the government wants to fight corruption, it has to go back inward, go back to drawing boards. Do not politicize everything. Call it a spade. Who has gone wrong should face the full weight, not just the law, the full weight of the law.
All right. Okay.
Would you let's now talk as let's leave the whole corruption thing. Let's now talk as normal Nigerians.
Okay.
Would you say that this administration should forget about fighting corruption and dwell more in making the lives of Nigerians better?
Yeah, because corruption has not gotten us anywhere. The fight against corruption has not gotten us anywhere. In the months leading to 2017,
You truly believe it hasn't gotten us anywhere?
No, it has not.
So if you want to say the loots that have been recorded, the MENA issue that threw up a lot of information about monies that were taken is of no good?
Is of good, but ask yourself, we've had billions of naira recovered. And what has it done to the economy of Nigeria? Has it increased minimum from 18,000 naira? No. You said you removed subsidy. Have you increased the price or have you increased basic salary of Nigeria? No, you have not. You're fighting corruption. Has the living standard of an average Nigerian post or pre-2015 increased? No is the answer. Rather, we are facing excruciating pains and hunger and starvation, and people, just late last year, people were diving into the ocean, into the lagoon. It's out of frustration. In the Christian book, go to that when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. So one of the indices of judging a government that has impacted the people positively is on the faces of the people you're governing. It's from the feedback you get from the people. But step into the starvation, there've been loss of jobs, and a whole lot. So why don't you channel the efforts that you have been fighting corruption that hasn't yielded results in court? Because those who are loyal to him will tell him that yielded tremendous results. So if I'm speaking from the point of view of an average Nigerian who is not employed in Aso Rock, whose father is not in a board, whose mother is neither a governor, a minister, a senator, or doesn't have a plum bill occasioned by the federal government, I will tell you the fact that we need to channel that effort that we're fighting corruption and go into making the lives of Nigerians better. Let people smile, let people be happy. Those of us who are active in social media, you tell you, bring back our corruption. Did you hear something like that? Because in an alleged government that was corrupt, the prices of basic go up. And for a government that is fighting corruption that should make life better, things have tripled. A bag of government was like 7,500. Now it is about 18,000. So why don't you give us that? Now the thing is that when the citizens are happy, when people can afford things, basic food to eat, where to sleep, and there's a job for you to go out, it says that they say that the government.
All right, I just have last questions for you. Just yesterday we had Shehu Gaba come out to say that Nigerians should take some time out and count the blessings this administration has brought. Straight to you, are the blessings to be counted? That's one. Then my final question will be, if the president doesn't assent to this PIGB bill, what will be the verdict?
Okay. Now, count your blessings.
Yeah. So
let me start from there.
Do you have blessings to count as a Nigerian?
Garba Shehu flies in presidential jets.
So that's one of the blessings for him.
He doesn't pay fares. Okay. They're going to London over the weekend for Buhari's leave. He's going to fly Nigerian Air Force One and get to UK and park. And the Air Force will wait for them until they finish. He's going to stay in the best of hotels. He doesn't pay any bills. At home, he has cars that drive him. He has security for his family. He doesn't have for him. And he's paid at the end of every month, whether the federal government pays civil servants or not. Garba will be paid. So let's count our blessings from the eyes of Garba. Okay? Those are his blessings. Take Garba away from the scene. Me and you and I. You have to pay transport to come to work, didn't you?
I did.
You buy your fuel. If there's no light, Garba always has light, but there is a standard generator. You have to pay for your bills, NEPA or whatever, PACN actually. You have to buy food, everything. You have to work. All of that domestic stuff taking care of him. Common Nigerians, average Nigerians do not have blessings to count. Our blessings are increased, jobs are lost. Uncles that used to give you 5,000 can no more give you because they have to deal with their families first. So you go to people, uncle help. Uncle will tell you, I also need help. You don't have blessings to count. If that alone, let's go to if the bill is not assented by Mr. President. Now, constitutionally speaking, the National Assembly has a window period of 30 days for Mr. President to sign, as at the time of harmonization of such a bill by both houses of the National Assembly. So when that is done, and it is tabled before Mr. President. Now remember that the bill has strict powers of allocating blocks and signing all of those from the President and the Minister. There's going to be hesitation, because a lot of things the President used to enjoy will be stripped of him. Now, he will delay until the kitchen cabinet sitting down, okay, this is what we need to do to enjoy what I have to do. It might not come to pass, they might not sign it, but the implication is that 30 days later, the Senate will bypass the President's assent and make it become a law. Assented to by Mr. President or not, the power now vests on the National Assembly. Okay, if they do that, the executive that should execute any policy is headed by Mr. President. So Mr. President, if he refuses to sign and you boycott him, when it comes to execution, after all of those four bills that have been, the bill has been split into four different. Now, there is a fiscal bill there, and every of those bills has, a fiscal item where you need monies to be given to you, and you have to present a budget, and whoever signs must be Mr. President. So when you now pass it, it becomes a law, and the President who is supposed to give you money to run whatever you want to run holds it back because you did not allow him, or he doesn't have a say in the common law. So there is a clog in the wheel of progress. So by the time all of this literature has been put together, everything done, those will go back behind closed doors where cameras will not be there, and then strike a deal. We will not be privy to the deal. I mean, they will strike an agreement. We will not be privy to that agreement. And when they come, they'll sign. So let's just hope that they call themselves to others, sit down, see this is it. For the benefit of Nigeria, let us do this. And if
do you see that happening?
Yes. Because of the fact that there are going to be clauses, you and I will not read the pages of newspapers, and we hear it on TV, so that they will have their own benefits at the end of the day. And the crumbs that fall on the table will be what you and I will fight for.
All right, for Nigerians, I don't know if you want to pick up the crumbs on
the master's table.
But that apparently might just be the case. That we've been talking about the NNPC and the PIGB bill and the consequences if the president does not assent to it. We had our in-house analysts do a human's job and it tear it down so that you can better understand what awaits us in the future. I want to say thank you for joining us on Daybreak Nigeria and giving us something awesome to reflect about.
Indeed.
Right, we'll be going for a very quick break. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up Africa's finest breakfast show.
Keep quiet on this matter.
Your trumpet.
I have so many friends.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak Nigeria on television Nigeria. It's time for us to look at what papers have for us today, the big stories making the rounds. Let's kickstart with the nation's newspaper. We've got on page 8, Buhari releases $1 billion to back insecurity. We've got Ekiti 2018, INEC issues election notice. Page 40 is where you find that big story. We've got Arsenal wary of Ahmed Musa, that big story is on page 47. We've got US-UK envoys, the dollar who talks on economy. We've got MPC predicts fragile but promising growth. You find that big story on page 6 of the Nation's newspaper. Oyegu loses extension lead as Buhari stays firm. Find details only on the Nation's newspaper. We've got OPEC's March oil output dips to 11 months low, and that's a big story there. On page 11, we have herdsmen kill 6 in Benue and Taraba. Find details only on page 42. Let's just look at NPC. Have the CBN saying, talking about the monetary policy committee of the CBN saying that it's going to be fragile but promising. What does that suggest to you?
It's going to be fragile
But promising. So it's delicate. We may not get there.
Now you already you're already being pessimistic.
Yeah, I'm saying about probability from the statement. Fragile but promising. There's a box there.
Yes. I want to look from the area of promising. Yes. I want to look for the area of being positive. I don't want to. I think we've got so much on negativity for too long, and so let's just be hopeful. Let's just see that. Let's forget about the fragile. Let's look at the promising. So let's look at the positive side of it.
All right, let's go to the other big story. I'd like to get a comment on Oyegu's extension bid as Buhari stays firm. Do you think this is going to haunt the APC somewhere along the line?
Yes. It was a serious battle yesterday, as much as I can tell. It was a serious battle yesterday, but at the end of the day, it was still a no because already you're aware that they've been divided in the House, and then some people are saying yes, some people are standing for President, some people are standing for Oyegu. But I think the number of people standing for Oyegu are actually not much like those who are on the president's side. So I think Oyegu should just forget about this whole thing and let Nigeria move forward. Let APC move forward. Right. Focus on other things, because if the party is not in a good condition, they would not be able to have attention to focus on other things. So I think you should let it slide.
The last story I'd like you to chew on has to do with Buhari releasing $1 billion to fight insecurity. A lot of critics have said this is the exact thing that played out in 2014, prior to the 2015 general elections, where some huge amounts of money was let go. Can we safely say this money is truly for insurgency? Initially started with Boko Haram. The government had to now do a U-turn and say it's for insecurity around the country. You said you have defeated Boko Haram. Why do you need $1 billion? For you, do you think they're playing in our minds here when they say $1 billion for insecurity?
Well, first of all,
the election is so close.
You have to chew on it, and I'm going to chew. I'm chewing right now. So let me just. What I think about this is that Buhari releasing $1 billion. $1 billion. I mean, where did that money come from? And if we had such money, wow, how come we've not invested it in agriculture? In something else, because I feel that the main thing about this security battle is a case of you not being sincere. I just feel that this releasing of $1 billion is just like for us to see. It's what you want us to see in front of us. It's not actually the reality of things. My pain in security aspect of Nigeria is the fact that things are just moving like our native people will say they be like film trick. They do like witchy. Do you understand? It's just like the more you look, the less you see. So I just feel that releasing $1 billion is just, to me, it's not realistic. Where did that money come from? And how are we sure that that money is going to be used for exactly what it's released for? Like, we all know what it is. All you just need to do is to speak the word. All you need to do is to give the order. All you need to do is to be firm on certain decisions, not $1 billion. They have released so much money on this security, and yet we are still, look at, people are still being killed, people are still dying. Just, I saw this morning, before we came here, people that they butchered in Taraba. You know, it's painful. It's painful because people who eat this money are to grab it and start dissecting it.
All right, so we hope the money will be well used. Let's go to the next paper.
Yes, we had the Daily Trust this morning, and the big story here, fireworks continued. 20 APC governors demand convention committee. And the story continues on page 5 of the Daily Trust. And President Buhari approves 360 billion naira for arms procurement. That is on page 3 of the Daily Trust. On page 17 of the Daily Trust, save now for the rainy day, CBN tells federal government states. Okay. On page 14, Danjuma's self-defense comment on the back page of the Daily Trust. We have some picture stories, and of course, sports. Ronaldo hails bicycle kick goal, and we also have Djokovic split from coaches. All right, so get yourself a copy of the Daily Trust this morning and get to know what is happening. So this now we're seeing another case of 360 billion naira for arms procurement. And we're also hearing that save now for the rainy day, the CBN is telling the federal government and the state. Did you really think that this, just like we saw in the other paper, 1 billion naira, where is this money coming out from?
Well, that's a tough question. The executive can answer, and I know we're hoping that the National Assembly would hold them responsible for every dime that's spent because this money is the commonwealth of the entire Nigerian people, and so should be well spent or well allocated.
Well spent.
All right, let's get to the next national dailies here. We've got the Nigerian Tribune here for review. Buhari approves $1 billion for security equipment purchase. That's a big story on page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune. We've got 3 dead, 7 injured as billboard falls on bus in Lagos. And I've got APC National Working Committee tenure. Governors align with Buhari. Mitoyegu Committee insists on Congress's convention, and NEC holds on Monday. APC passing through death throes, says the PDP. We've got other stories. CBN retains interest rate at 14%. We've got Kaduna needs $65.5 billion to promote infrastructure, says El Rufai. And we've got Buhari Saraki Dogara Mon as another senator dies at 63. All right, those are the big stories making the round on the Nigerian Tribune. Go there, get one for yourself, and see all the big stories making the rounds. Let's. But I know you're itching to.
I'm actually not itching. What I'm so concerned is about the 63. I saw one other source saying that he died at 67, and here I'm saying 63. So okay. I'm trying to understand: is it that the age of this particular senator is not known? One source is saying 67, and I'm getting confused already.
All right, I'd like you to just look at this quickly. We've got as defilement cases rock courts. A teacher driver allegedly defies 8-year-old pupil. Driver violates neighbor's 4-year-old daughter. Man sexually assaults stepdaughter for 7 years. Very, very sad commentaries going there. Let's quickly go through the leadership.
Okay, Barrett. This is the leadership this morning, and the big story here very quickly. 2 APC governors set to call illegal NEC meeting. You will find that story on page 6. And President Muhammadu Buhari approves $1 billion for arms purchase to fight insecurity. Page 8, you will see my Peking. Supreme Court jails 2 over. And on page 36, US-UK envoys visit Otedola, hold talks on economy. And again, MPC retains interest rate at 14%. You will find the story on page 7. And also, INEC issues election notice for a Ekiti governorship poll. You'll find that story on page 40.
All right, let's quickly go to the Sporting Life. The big story there says Reds blow Citizens away at Anfield. Liverpool 3, Man City 0. Liverpool fans attack Man City at Anfield. That's one of the big stories there on the Sporting Life. We've got Moses Ndidi, 3 Lions, talking about Nigeria taking on England June 2nd as they prepare for the FIFA 2018 World Cup. Also, the other big stories there says no target set for Eagles. And we've got Jojo Kocha speaking. He says Iwobi is amazing. Indeed, he ranked 23rd in the EPL as one of the best players. We've got Barcelona 4, Roma 1. Those are, excuse me, those are the big stories making the round on the Sporting paper here, Sporting Live. Go out there, grab one and get all the big stories as regards your darling Super Eagles.
All right, so very quickly by the Punch. Just to quickly inform you that by 9 o'clock we'll be taking the news, so you have to stay tuned. But this is the Punch. The big story here says that Buhari okays $1 billion for equipment for military. That is on page 10. And then the writer here says, bring back our girl, CDHR, others knock president. Is that the knock? We'll get to find out if you take the copy over the Punch this morning. Dapchi, Leah's mom to attend Abuja prayer session today on page 12. 6 passengers driver die in Lagos crashes. This is on page 4 and 5. And on page 4, Buhari Saraki Dogara Mon Katsina Senator ex-rep Ogunewe. Sorry. And on page 10, Onoyegun, governors back Buhari APC to meet on fresh congresses. And headsmen kill man, wife, 2 children in Taraba. And INEC issues notice of 2018 Ekiti governor's election. That is also on page 11. There's so much interesting stories to look out for on the Punch this beautiful morning. And so all you have to do is get yourself a copy of the Punch and get informed.
All right, I will go for a quick break so that you can get the news on Television Nigerian. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up Daybreak.
Group praises President Muhammadu Buhari over commissioning of Lagos bus terminal. Speaker House of Representatives mourns death of Senator Bukar. Federal government deploys technical aid corps volunteers in Sierra Leone. And sports, FIFA to introduce yellow card for coaches. Welcome to the AM News on Television Nigerian. I am Eunice Johnson. A group, Itesiwaju Ipinle Eko Vanguard, has praised President Muhammadu Buhari over the commissioning of the Ikeja bus terminal. The group says the president and the governor of Lagos State, Akinwumi Ambode, have redefined good governance in the country. Speaking to journalists in Lagos, the state coordinator of the group, Seyi Bamigbade, says the ultra-modern Ikeja bus terminal, recently commissioned by President Muhammadu Buhari, is proof of the good governance strategy of the APC-led government. He says that the ultra-modern Ikeja bus terminal will ease movement in the state. Seyi Bamigbade also commended Governor Ambode for what it described as his developmental strides in the last 3 years. Speaker House of Representatives mourns death of Senator. The Speaker of House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara says he received with sadness and shock the news of the death of Senator Mustapha Bukar representing Katsina North Senatorial District. Speaker Dogara lamented that the passing on of the former senator is coming barely a week after the death of Deputy House Leader in the House of Representatives, Honorable Umar Buba Jibril, and less than a month after the demise of Senator Ali Wakili from Bauchi State. The Speaker described late Senator Bukar as a fine gentleman who exhibited high moral disposition and earned respect from his colleagues and associates while representing Daura Zone in the Senate. On behalf of the entire membership of the House of Representatives, he extended his heartfelt condolences to President Muhammadu Buhari, government of the people of Katsina State, particularly the Daura Zone, as well as the immediate family of the deceased over the irreparable loss. The Nigerian High Commissioner to Sierra Leone, Habis Ugbada, says that the federal government has deployed more than 5 technical aid corps volunteers in Sierra Leone. Ugbada told the news agency of Nigeria in Freetown that discussions for more volunteers to be deployed in the country were ongoing. On September 10, 2009, Nigeria signed a bilateral agreement with the government of Sierra Leone for the second phase of an 8-year technical aid corps program. Nigeria has sent more than 5 volunteers to Sierra Leone in various capacities. The Nigerian High Commissioner to Sierra Leone added that the mission was currently working on resuscitating the Joint Commission Agreement on Trade and Investment between both countries. Governor Obaseki of Edo State has fired the Commissioner of Environment and Sustainability, Reginald Okun. Also fired was the General Manager of the State Waste Management Board, Ayemenekuo Akonofua, who was retired. The governor also directed that the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Obayagbo, to be redeployed to another ministry. A statement signed by the secretary to the state government, Osarudin Oge, says that the affected officials should hand over their assignments to the most senior government officials in their respective offices. They are also to hand over all government property in their possession to the appropriate authorities. We take a break now to bring you a graphic report of the equities market traded on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on the day ended 4th April 2018. Thank you very much for staying tuned. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the release of $1 billion for the purchase of military hardware for use to help the military in counter-insurgency operations. The president gave the approval in Abuja at a meeting with the Minister of Defense, Brigadier General Mansour Dan Ali, and service chiefs. Dan Ali disclosed this to State House correspondents shortly after the meeting, which also discussed the safe release of Leah Sheribu, the last of the Dapchi schoolgirls still in Boko Haram captivity. According to him, the meeting also discussed security situations across the country and the steps taken by government to address them. The minister explained that the money was the same approved by the state governors to be withdrawn from the excess crude account to fight insurgency in the country. And in sports, football's ruling body FIFA is testing 3 new rules, including yellow cards for coaches at youth tournaments. According to FIFA Deputy Secretary General Vunmi Boban, coaches and other officials are currently sent off immediately for offenses. He pointed out that the yellow card will inform the coach that he has to control his temper or will be punished for it. The other tested rule changes are allowing goalkeepers to make kickoffs to teammates positioned within the penalty area and to have substituted players leave the pitch anywhere. And on the foreign scene, China has issued a $50 billion list of United States goods, including soybeans and small aircraft, for possible tariff hikes. This follows an escalating technology dispute with Washington that companies worry could set back the global economic recovery. The country's tax agency gave no date for the 25% increase to take effect and said that would depend on what President Donald Trump does about the United States' plan to raise duties on a similar amount of Chinese goods. Beijing's list of 106 products its intense sensitivity to the dispute over American complaints that it pressures foreign companies to hand over technology. To end the news, a recap of the headlines. Group praises President Buhari over commissioning of Lagos bus terminal. Speaker, House of Representatives mourns death of Senator Bukar. Federal government deploys technical aids corps volunteers in Sierra Leone. And in sports, FIFA to introduce yellow cards for coaches. We'll leave you with an update of the weather report for today. AM News on Television Nigerian. Remember, always leave a better part of your personality when leaving a union. It is better to be remembered for good than bad. I am Eunice Johnson. Have a beautiful day ahead.
Welcome back. You must have heard all the big stories on the news right here on Television Nigeria. You're still watching Daybreak Nigerian, and I am Anthony Momodo. Just about time for us to wrap it up. Hope you've got all the big stories you need to know and all the information you needed to have this morning, so you could go out there and make the right decisions. So already you know that the MPC, talking about the Monitoring Policy Committee of the CBN, has retained the interest rate at 14%. That's very key for you to have as you move out today, and also the fact that APC is still struggling to decide on the extension of the National Working Committee, Oyegu's position also in question. So that's a very topical issue, you know. Then the president has finally released $1 billion for fighting off insecurity in the country, trying to make sure that Nigeria is safe for everyone.
And I must say that you have definitely been informed of big things happening in Nigeria. We will definitely be here tomorrow morning to give you more information, all the latest information. But before then, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Television Nigerian. Follow us on Facebook, Television Nigerian. Like us on Twitter and, of course, Instagram at TV Nigerian. My name is Cynthia Agbo. Don't forget that life is very sweet, and of course, enjoy it.
Thank you to the entire production team, for everyone that made this production awesome. From the head of programs to the entire production unit, talking about Mr. Noel, Donald, Josh, and everyone who made us come out awesome this morning. Thank you very much. See you later today.
Not to keep quiet on this matter. They are killing our people back home.
Mr. Trump, please blow your trumpet.
I have so many friends going to your countries trying to get rich.
Hello viewers, welcome to the Oracle live on Television Nigeria. The Oracle is a 1-hour free consultation clinic on governance, the democratic process, peace and security matters, and global strategic issues. The Oracle is hosted by Udenta Odinta, my humble self. I'll be a guide for the 1-hour show airing every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. The concept of the Oracle is simple. The past is rich with wisdom. The present is knowledge. The future possibility of mankind is how do we prophesy the things to come and the things to happen. That is what we tend to do and achieve in this engaging and profoundly illuminating show, The Oracle, on Television Nigeria.
Information remains the bedrock in every stage of development. It develops both the human mind and the society at large. Television Nigerian is here to avail you with that information you need for all-round development through its mind-blowing programs such as news, talk shows, health and safety, governance and politics, sport, entertainment, kids, documentaries, finance, global happenings, human disposition from childhood to adulthood. It's a manifestation of what you see, what you hear, and say. Tune in and stay tuned to TVN, Television Nigeria, broadcast beyond boundaries.